In the previous video, we looked at the programming languages in which you could write an event-driven program. In this program, we're going to look at the IDEs, the integrated development environments that you use to write these programs. The most common of these at the moment is probably Visual Studio. Visual Studio allows you to write programs that will run under Windows, mostly. It will also let you write programs that can be used over the internet in special languages, special versions of Visual Basic and C#. These Visual Basic and C# type languages are called active server pages, ASPs. And Visual Studio is a programming environment that allows you to write ASP, Visual Basic, C# and various other programming languages. Here you create a form is what the user sees on the screen, and then from there the programmer can drop buttons and text boxes and labels and things onto the form that the user can then see and manipulate in any way they want. Another popular IDE is Netbeans. Netbeans is used for Java, and in Java you also need the standard text boxes and buttons and drop-down menus that you'd have in Visual Basic, say. The difference is that Java will run on any operating system. So if you write a program in Java, it'll run on a Windows machine, it'll also run on a Linux machine, it'll run over the internet with a little bit of changing, it'll run on a Mac OS, it'll run on a Sun Microsystems machine. Netbeans also has the same idea. Instead of calling them forms, they're called panels, but you drop various bits and pieces like buttons and menus and that onto the panels, and away you go, and you write your program. Now Visual Studio and Netbeans allow you to run your programs and test them. That's obviously very useful. If there are mistakes in your code, you can find them and change them very easily. A more complicated system, but quite useful, is to use a text editor, something like, say, Notepad++. Here, you write your program, send it off to the programming language, and then that program runs. In this way, you can also test your program, but it's a slightly more roundabout system. If you're writing things for the internet, say in HTML, JavaScript and so on, Netbeans, Notepad++ will give you all sorts of tips on whether you've misspelt something. But Notepad++ is not the same sort of integrated development environment that you would have with, say, Visual Studio or Netbeans.